There is a sharp spike in the political temperature in Bengal, with Union Home Minister Amit Shah raising the issue of Ghuspetiyas, or illegal infiltrators from Bangladesh, changing the demographic profile of the state. He took on Mamata Banerjee and the Bengal government for not providing land to the border security force to carry out fencing or to build the border outposts. Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee hit right back, drawing parallels between Duryodhan and Dushasan and the BJP leadership. I'll get you much more on that top story.
Bengal battle for ballot.
आपकी निगहबानी में घुसपैठ कराई जाती है और बंगाल को धीरे धीरे डेमोग्राफी चेंज कर कर आप आपकी वोट बैंक को पुख्ता करें.
Infiltration takes center stage. Shah flags fencing land delays.
क्या बंगाल की मुख्यमंत्री ये जवाब दे सकती है गुजरात और राजस्थान की बॉर्डर पर घुसपैठ क्यों नहीं होती है? पंजाब की बॉर्डर पर घुसपैठ क्यों नहीं होती है?
Mamata targets Shah over Pahalgam.
পহেলগাঁও তাহলে কি আপনারা করলেন?
The Bengal Ghuspetiya debate. That is our top focus on India First.
So the battle lines are very clearly drawn. The TMC took on the BJP head on, saying if infiltration is happening from Bangladesh along the Bengal border, explain, did you carry out the terror strikes in Pahalgam? Explain the blast that took place in Delhi. The Home Minister spoke of Bengal government not clearing land for BSF to fence a portion of that Bengal-Bangladesh border, and he said they're enabling Ghuspetiyas. They are altering demographic profile in Bengal, which is detrimental to the interests of Bengalis, but they're doing it for a vote bank. That's coming up after it's coming up at 8:30 tonight. After Pakistan being upset over Dhurandhar, an Indian film, China and Chinese state media very upset over an upcoming Salman Khan starrer on Galwan. Why? Why this fear of this Indian film industry or films being made in India? Is the Indian film industry upsetting the apple cart on fake narrative, very carefully constructed and peddled by a certain ecosystem in our country? That's coming up at 8:30 tonight. I'm Gaurav Sawant. As always, let's get started. Union Home Minister Amit Shah is on a 3-day visit to Bengal to kickstart BJP's poll campaign for the 2026 assembly elections. And he's stirred a hornet's nest. He's accused the Mamata Banerjee government in Bengal of facilitating infiltration of Bangladeshis to the state that he insists had dangerously altered the demography of the state. Mamata Banerjee hit right back, accusing the BJP of turning the special intensive revision exercise into a scam, which she insists was being conducted using artificial intelligence. We get you more in this report on the battle for Bengal.
आपकी निगहबानी में घुसपैठ कराई जाती है और बंगाल को धीरे धीरे डेमोग्राफी चेंज कर कर आप आपकी वोट बैंक को पुख्ता करनी चाहते हैं.
Home Minister Amit Shah, sounding the poll bugle in Bengal, launched a direct and scathing attack on the Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and her government. At the center of this political slugfest is infiltration and vote bank politics.
गुजरात और राजस्थान की बॉर्डर पर घुसपैठ क्यों नहीं होती है? पंजाब की बॉर्डर पर घुसपैठ क्यों नहीं होती है? कश्मीर की बॉर्डर पर घुसपैठ क्यों नहीं होती है?
Shah alleged that TMC government is deliberately not providing land for border fencing along the Bangladesh border.
कौन सी सरकार है बांग्लादेश की पूरी सीमा पर जो वाड़बंदी करने के लिए, बॉर्डर पर फेंसिंग करने के लिए जमीन नहीं देती है? अगर आप जवाब न दे पाए तो मैं ही देता हूं. आपकी ही सरकार है जो जमीन नहीं देती है, जिसके कारण फेंसिंग का काम समाप्त नहीं हुआ.
The BJP has made it clear, if voted to power, identifying and expelling infiltrators will be a top priority.
एक ऐसी मजबूत राष्ट्रीय ग्रिड बनाएंगे जो बंगाल से घुसपैठ को समाप्त कर देंगी. इंसान छोड़ दीजिए, परिंदा भी पैर नहीं मार पाए इस प्रकार की एक मजबूत ग्रिड की रचना हम करेंगे।
কি ঢাকি বন্ধু
But the Chief Minister has hit back, questioning the centre's narratives on infiltration, throwing the spotlight back on national security failures.
বাংলায় শুধু অনুপ্রবেশকারী, কাশ্মীরে নাকি নেই। তাই যদি সত্যি হয় বন্ধু, একটা কথার উত্তর চাই, পহেলগাঁও তাহলে কি আপনারা করলেন? দিল্লিতে কিছুদিন আগে যে ঘটনা ঘটে গেল, সেকেন্ড পেজ খুললে
Mamata Banerjee countered, saying border security lies with central forces, not the state.
সারা জীবন বলেন বিএসএফ কার হাতে? অনেক জমি তোমায় দিয়েছি, কিন্তু তুমি করতে পারোনি।
The TMC chief also claimed that Bengalis are being harassed across the Bengal.
আজকে নাকি বলেছেন দুঃশাসন বাবুদার দুই চোখে, এক চোখে দুর্যোধন আর এক চোখে দুঃশাসন। বলেছেন 2/3 পাবো।
The poll pitch is set in Bengal, with the Saffron Party setting the target of 2/3 majority and infiltration as the core election flashpoint. The political battle in West Bengal is heating up. With Jitendra Bahadur and Inderjeet Kundu, Bureau Report, India Today.
Joining me on this debate on the battle for Bengal are Garga Chatterjee, General Secretary of Bangla Pokho. RP Singh is National Spokesperson of the BJP. Shikha Mukherjee is a senior journalist and analyst. Rishi Bagri joins us as a political analyst on this broadcast. We will continue this conversation, but before that, quickly listen in to Union Home Minister Amit Shah's statement in Parliament on the issue of fencing, the issues that the Border Security Force and the Ministry of Home Affairs were facing in Bengal.
शेष फेंसिंग जो 563 किलोमीटर है उसमें 112 किलोमीटर फेंसिंग ऐसी है, बॉर्डर ऐसी है जिसमें बॉर्डर फेंसिंग व्यवहारू नहीं, नाले हैं, नदियां हैं, ऊंची नीची पहाड़ियां हैं, जहां 112 किलोमीटर में फेंसिंग हो ही नहीं सकता, और 450 किलोमीटर जहां फेंसिंग होता है वहां बाकी है। अब मैं वो बताना चाहता हूं कि क्यों बाकी है। ये 450 किलोमीटर के लिए मान्यवर मैंने डीओ लेटर लिखकर 10 रिमाइंडर करे हैं, बंगाल सरकार भूमि नहीं देती। मान्यवर ये 450 किलोमीटर के लिए गृह सचिव बंगाल के मुख्य सचिव के साथ 7 मीटिंग करे, ये भूमि नहीं देते हैं। मान्यवर जहां फेंसिंग लगाने जाते हैं सत्ताधारी पार्टी का कैडर आकर हुड़दंग करता है, धार्मिक नारे लगाता है, और मान्यवर मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि ये 450 किलोमीटर फेंसिंग रुकी है तो केवल और केवल बंगाल सरकार की दया की दृष्टि घुसपैठियों के पर जो है इसके कारण। ये सवाल हमें करते हैं, अभी भी किया कि रोहिंग्या दिल्ली तक आ गए, आपके नाक के नीचे आया, घुस कर आते हैं, इनको आधार कार्ड दादा कौन देता है? नागरिक कहां के बने हैं? कहां के बने हैं? जितने बांग्लादेश से पकड़े गए 24 परगना जिले का आधार कार्ड और नागरिकता है मान्यवर।
Shikha Mukherjee, your reading of the Home Minister's charge in Parliament on the floor of the House and now in Bengal, how major an issue is Ghuspaithia or illegal infiltrators from Bangladesh an issue in Bengal?
It's because of two reasons. One is that Ghuspaithia or the politics of infiltration and infiltrators, their religious identity more than anything else, because Mr. Amit Shah has made it very clear that Ghuspaithia equals the demographic change, and the demographic change that he's referring to is the pace at which the Muslim population has risen in West Bengal in certain parts, vis-a-vis the stability of the Hindu population and the proportions of the Hindus to the Muslims in West Bengal. That is the basic Ghuspaithia argument. So if you look at the Ghuspaithia argument, this has been going on for a long while. And there have been various claims about the percentage of Muslim population in West Bengal. And this gets linked to the other part of the political narrative, which is the idea of a vote bank, a Muslim vote bank, and the increase of Muslim vote bank by the by giving documents to and legalizing the infiltrators, mostly Muslims. Now, all of this has been a very long. This has had years of building up as a narrative for a political campaign. It has been ongoing. 2021, the same thing happened. 2024, it was the same thing. And in 2016 also, it was the same thing. However, what makes this more urgent in this particular time, in this particular 2026 election, is very simple. It's the SIR. And the SIR process is all about identifying the ineligible voter, the illegal migrant, and removing them from the polls. Now, that raises the fundamental question, which Mr. Amit Shah in today's press conference addressed, which is that Guspeta equals demographic change equals Muslim infiltration. Now, is that exactly what the SIR is going to reveal? I doubt it. Because the SIR is not going to look at the religious identity of people, but the papers that they have. And that is going to pose a problem. However, what Mr. Shah's and the BJP's campaign up to this point, Mr. Shah certainly took it up several notches, is that this is the one issue on which the Hindu majority in West Bengal is expected to respond and react and give the BJP the 2/3 majority that he's talking about. And how is this? And let me just explain a little bit more, just one more point, which is that if you look at the Hindu majority, then the Hindu majority comprises both those people who have been in West Bengal for before partition and those who came in after partition.
Yes.
So the impact is supposed to be on both. The scare is about the demographic change. Now, the BJP is constantly harping on this issue. The SIR is going to impact the Hindus as much as anybody else amongst those who came in across the water. And then Mr. Shah has made a further point, one small point, which is that nobody who came on grounds of religious persecution or as refugees will be struck off the list. Now, how that is going to work out in terms of the existing framework of the SIR process remains to be seen. And therefore, it is going to be...
Because which is where the CAA kicks in. Citizenship Amendment Act, that the persecuted Hindu, Sikh, Jain and Christian minorities living in Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Pakistan, they get citizenship in India. Will that date, coincide and help with the Hindus? That remains to be seen. But RP is saying TMC on the issue of Ghuspetias or infiltrators, Mamata Banerjee is not taking it lying down. She's hit right back at the BJP, saying, where did infiltrators come from in Pahalgam attack or for Delhi blast? So the BJP is being accused of using Ghuspetia only as an issue to polarize in Bengal, sir.
Gaurav, just recently, a few days back, I was just trying to on the Google. You were telling also about all those infiltrators on Ghuspetas who were running from Kolkata to the border. Various channels which help.
Sir, give me a moment. I'm unable to hear you. We will try and reestablish our link with you, but let me bring in Rishi Bagri to respond to this. Rishi, is this an issue in these elections, the issue of Ghuspetias and the changing demographic profile? Because the TMC says BJP only raises the issue of Ghuspetia. It's a self-goal. It's the job of the BSF or the MHA to stop infiltration. They failed and they're blaming the Bengal government, sir.
Gaurav, if you see the data, I mean, just go and check the data of the Kolkata itself. in from 2002 SIR to 2025 SIR, the rise of the total voter count is just 4%. Whereas the voter count rise in Murshidabad, Malda, and many minority dominated districts is more than 60-70%. Now, you can imagine that this is not normal. I mean, a normal, what do you call normal population doesn't like this. Then this is the handiwork of the complete infiltration which is happening here. Now, I give you some examples. Like if you remember, there was recently there's a female, there was a Bangladeshi actress, Shanta Paul, who got caught. Actually, she was a Bangladeshi. She got caught with two Aadhaar cards, one voter cards, and one ration card. All were issued from West Bengal. The Aadhaar card and the ration card were issued by the West Bengal government, basically, if you can say. So there are many such rackets which are getting busted. These are the rackets which takes money and issue ID cards and other things which help them to get the passport and even the voter cards. So basically, all this, most of these people who are get caught with the all these fraudulent cards are coming from the either Malda, Murshidabad, 24 Parganas, and it cannot be a coincidence in that way. So that is one thing which is there. So it's very important that
Okay.
the secondly, I mean, you also need to understand that a very big, large chunk of our border in Bangladesh, from between the West Bengal and Bangladesh, is unfenced. Most of it are like the land has not been given to the BSF to set up the boundary wall. Now,
Okay.
I think the central government is repeatedly asking the land, but I think Mamata Banerjee is reluctant to give the land. So you can imagine, and then they are a very more interesting thing. They are basically एक रकम से आप देख सकते हो, there's a called damad and jamais of Bangladeshi jamai, and they are being basically settled in places like Jamai Pada. There's a places called Jamai Pada, Damad Pada in West Bengal. Officially unka naam hai Jamai Pada, and those are in like in Kulpi in 24 Parganas, where all these Bangladeshi people come, they marry the local Muslim woman and they settle there as a voter. They settle there as a person. They get all, they basically वो
I'll get
अपने
Shikha
ससुर
Mukherjee to respond to that, but if I have
अपने
that audio
ससुर को अपने
link back.
फादर बना देते हैं.
Okay, if RP Singh is back, RP Singh, respond. Is this just a political issue during elections? Because Mamata Banerjee, and you heard her, where she very clearly says, where did infiltrators come from in Pahalgam? Did you do Pahalgam? What about the terrorists who carried out Delhi Blast? The BJP is only using Ghuspetia as an issue to polarize, as Ms. Shikha Mukherjee also points out. Go on, sir, respond.
Gaurav, your channel and other various channels just recently covered how Bangladesh fleeing Kolkata and other cities and areas were vacated because they knew that because of Syria, they can't say that. And then interviewed by various channels, including your channel, asked them who made their voter card, how did they order the Aadhaar card. They said record that we given Aadhaar card, our voter card were made TMC owners, and we take for TMC. So where is the question? There's already a proof on various channels, or not social media, not about social media. I'm talking about the mainline electronic media. So,
okay, sir, I think we'll have to spend another moment trying to reestablish that audio link with you. But Shikha Mukherjee, the Home Minister referred to multiple letters and meetings with the Bengal government, and yet land was not allotted to the border security force.
I didn't hear the first part of your question. Can you repeat that?
Land, the Home Minister referred to multiple meetings that were taking place, that BSF was not getting land. What is your reading of the allegation that the Mamata Banerjee government is actually facilitating infiltration of Bangladeshis, deliberately changing the demographic profile, and therefore land is not being provided? I want you to just go through this Ministry of Home Affairs press release. This is an August 2025 press release that talks about roughly 456 kilometers of land that was identified for border fencing. 148 odd kilometers that was still pending because land acquisition was not taking place. Work on another 220 kilometers was not happening. Bengal government had either stalled the payment or had not given cabinet approval. How do you read this, madam?
Well, I think it is a problem, but there are land acquisition issues in West Bengal, and that has to be dealt with. if the Mamata Banerjee government is going slow on it, then that's a problem. Then the accusation stands. But to kind of infer from that of the 2,216 kilometers of the border, there is less than one fourth of the part of that land, approximately, has not been handed over. So 3/4 of the land has been covered. And
True.
of that, 77 kilometers has just been handed over in August or something. And then the rest of it remains to be handed over because there are issues. 112, Mr. Amit Shah himself has come up with these figures.
I think 378 kilometers land acquisition is yet to be initiated. 148 odd kilometers state government work is happening.
Has
So I
not
think
been done as
229
yet.
kilometers, it's in various stages of acquisition according to that press release.
That's right. That's right. So this is a process. It has been slow, but given West Bengal's issues with land acquisition, I am almost certain that even if you wanted to fast track it, it would still be a far slower process than it would be in other parts of the country. And I'm very clear about this because West Bengal's land acquisition problems are a humongous political risk for everybody.
Okay. So you don't think that there is a deliberate go-slow in this? Let me also bring in Garga Chatterjee into this conversation. Garga, welcome. The Home Minister accused the Chief Minister and the Bengal government of deliberately delaying land to be being provided to the Border Security Force for fencing of that area. How do you read that, sir?
Let me give you certain facts, okay? And am I audible correctly? Okay.
Strength 5, sir, go on.
Yeah, let me give you certain facts which should inform the people of India about what is what. Number one, this whole bogey of Bangladeshi immigrants coming in through the porous West Bengal-Bangladesh border, let me give you a figure. From 1971 to 81 to 1991 to 2001 to 2011, the last census, the percentage of Bengali speaking people in India has actually gone down, number one, okay? Number two, in Assam, 23% of the land border with Bangladesh remains unfenced. I really request Mr. Amit Shah to tell us what are the factors which are stopping a BJP state government and a BJP home ministry government, a home ministry, to do 23% fencing in Assam, okay? Number three, in 2015, let alone guarding the Bangladesh border, 10,000 acres of West Bengal land of Kuch Bihar was written off to the Bangladesh government, okay? Made part of Bangladesh by this present government of India. In 2024, September,
wasn't that part of the land swap
140
agreement,
acres of Noida district was given away to Bangladesh after Amit Shah nodded it to BSF and their Bangladesh border guard people. And in the recent SIR in West Bengal, the draft list has been published. We have seen about 19-20 lakh people who could not be traced, okay, or who have said they are elsewhere. Among them, about 70% plus are Hindi-speaking people, Urdu-speaking people, and Marwaris who live in the urban and industrial areas of West Bengal. What Bangladesh bogey are we talking about?
RP Singh, respond. RP Singh, respond. What Bangladeshi bogey or infiltrators bogey is the BJP talking about? Because statistics and numbers don't seem to back the claim the TMC counters.
हिंदी में कहावत है कि सच को आंच नहीं, but you can't hide the truth. As I was telling you, and I showed you pictures also of the Bangladeshis fleeing and vacating their mohallas after mohallas, the houses after houses, because they knew that they were scared of SIR. They knew they'll be caught. And when interviewed by various channels, including your channel, asked them, who made your Aadhaar card? They said it was the TMC worker. Who made your voter card? It was the TMC worker. Whom do you vote for? We vote for TMC. I mean, there are areas after areas which are empty today. I mean, please, and if you want, I'll send you the clipping of your channel itself. But fact is that Mamata Banerjee is harping on these migrants, and that's why she has been trying to protect them. And when the gentleman says that, okay, the people come from the border, okay, but who gives them the shelter here? Who ensures that they get the vote, their voter ID cards are made? So there's a complete racket which is happening.
Okay, you accuse a racket being there on ground. And Garga, before I bring in Rishi into this conversation once again, Garga Chatterjee, how do you see this, Mamata Banerjee comparing the BJP leadership to Duryodhan and Dushasan? There are some analysts who argue this actually shows her desperation. On the issue of Ghuspaitias, they are not countering, she's not countering the BJP on facts. That infiltrators are changing the demographic profile of the region, and that is why she's moving, as the BJP says, towards the Duryodhan Dushasan comparison, sir. How would you explain that?
See, Duryodhan and Dushasan and the Kauravas and the Pandavas were from the same Kuru family. Okay, we are all part of the family of India. We are all Indians. So when certain political forces in India, the BJP in this case, attacks in its states Bengalis of India, citizens of West Bengal, from Malda, Murshidabad, in Odisha, in Rajasthan, in Odisha,
okay.
in Rajasthan.
Sir, the moment he completes, I'll get you to respond. I'll get you to respond.
Okay.
RP Singh and Garga Chatterjee only. Okay.
This cannot happen.
Garga Chatterjee, complete your point. Sir, I'm coming to you. Mr. RP Singh, I'm coming to you.
If you
Garga,
think
please complete your
anybody is a
point,
foreign
sir.
citizen, one has to be slapped by the Passport Act, the Citizenship Act, okay? And that's the Constitution of India. While we have BJP Bajrang Dal vigilantes attacking Bengalis in BJP's ruled states all over India, is this some kind of ethnic cleansing of Bengalis going on in India in the name of
So
a
you are saying
Bangladeshi
it's happening to Bengalis? You're saying it's happening to Bengalis? RP Singh, respond. RP Singh, respond.
I give a challenge to gentleman. Let him give an instance where such thing has happened. He is spewing venom. He wants to bring hatred. He wants to build hatred in the society, which is all false and fabricated. And as for Duryodhan and Dushasan, Mr. Jyoti Priya Malik is a Duryodhan. Mr. Anuprit Mandal is a Dushasan. Mr. Jeevan Krishna Shah is the Dushasan. All these people who are involved in corruption are Dushasan and Duryodhan. Whether it is Manik Bhattacharya, Chandrakant Sinha, Presh Pal, Kuntal Ghosh, Kunal Ghosh. I mean, all these are people who are Duryodhan and Dushasan from the West Bengal. Because
Garga Chatterjee wants to quickly respond before I bring in Shikha Mukherjee and Amit and Rishi into this conversation once again on what Amit Shah said. But quickly, Garga, yes, please.
I have personally met Buddhadev Barik and his 20 compatriots from Paschim Bardhaman, Paschim Medinipur district, who went to Gujarat. They were picked up by Gujarat police. Their Gujarat police boot marks are on their body. They were branded as Bangladeshis. Babai Sardar, who did a RSS course of level 2 from Bishnupur Assembly constituency of South 24 Pargana. He was picked up in Maharashtra. Okay, Sujoy Das of Murshidabad in Orissa was beaten black and blue, was almost killed with a stone. I have visited all of these people. These are all over the media.
Anyway, if
all
action
of these
needs to be
things
taken,
exist.
the BJP is in the line of fire for not taking hard action against vigilante groups. That's the chat. In case there are illegal Bangladeshis, legal action by the police and not by vigilante groups. That's the criticism coming your way, sir. RP Singh, quick 30 seconds.
He just now mentioned with the police. Police is not vigilante group. When police is taking action, they are saying it's vigilante group. They are trying to brand it as a Bajrang Dal. But fact is, let's talk about Hargobind Das and Chandan Das. Why were they killed in Murshidabad? What made them kill why were they killed in Murshidabad? What was the instance? Do you remember that? So it is as per their suitability. Poor people from backward classes were killed because they are Hindus. They were targeted as
I want to
Hindus.
quickly bring in Shikha Mukherjee.
Not a single
Okay,
Bengali
Amit
is being
Shah,
tortured
Shikha Mukherjee
or being
accused Mamata
targeted
Banerjee and
anywhere in the
TMC
country.
of creating this atmosphere of fear which was worse than in the times of a communist regime. Now, he went on record to say more than 300 BJP workers have been killed, more than 3,000 BJP workers have still not been able to return home. They're being pressured that they'll only be allowed to return home if they carry a TMC flag. How bad is the situation on ground in your appreciation, madam?
Gaurav, I will, before I get to the point that you just asked me, I will raise 2 or 3 questions. One is that there is a person called Shonali Khatu who was deported on suspicion that she was a Bangladeshi. The courts in Bangladesh and the Supreme Court of India have both said that she had to come and she was brought back. The fact is that this whole business of identifying people as Bangladeshi has now reached dangerous proportions with the death of Angel Chakma. Why? Because he was in Uttarakhand. Why was he attacked? Why was he killed?
No, but Angel Chakma is a completely different issue, ma'am, and the Uttarakhand police have a different story. But I want to stay on the issue of Bengal for the moment. Angel Chakma is a different story, ma'am.
We are looking at Bengal, but we are also looking at the identity politics that is underway. And that is the dangerous part of it for the nation.
Oh,
as
absolutely.
Well as,
anybody targeting anybody,
let,
the strong arm of the law has to come down very heavily. But Angel Chakma has, in my view, has nothing to do with what's happening in Bengal or the issue of the Ghuspaitiya. But Rishi Bagri, TMC claims BJP leaders visit the state as tourists. They lack grassroots support. That is why they're blaming politics of fear and the TMC. How do you read Amit Shah's statement on 3,000 BJP workers being unable to return home, sir?
No, Gaurav, I don't think so. There's a lack of grassroots support because they already are having a 40% vote share. And secondly, I mean, these are the same activists who stayed completely conspicuously silent on West Bengal police firing and which killed multiple Bengali students in Islampur when the Mamata government was trying to impose Urdu language instead of a Bengali language. These were the same activists who stayed silent and gulped down the glue. And secondly, Angel Chakma was not killed because of some hate crime. He was killed because something, and his killer was some Nepali guy and some guy from Manipur. I mean, and they are basically on the run. So the government and the police have clarified this thing. I don't know why.
So some arrests have taken place. Some more arrests need to take place. But you're absolutely right. Any crime, is very clearly unacceptable. But does this mean that identification of illegal Bangladeshis should not happen? Due process must be followed, but illegals must be dealt with. But this is an issue, of course, we will continue to debate in the days and weeks ahead. I want to thank all my guests. So after Pakistan being rattled by Dhurandhar, China is seeing red over an upcoming film on the Galwan clash. Salman Khan's star, Battle of Galwan, based on the deadly June 2020 India-China clash in Ladakh, has triggered a sharp reaction on the other side of the line of actual control. So China's state-run media, they've gone after this film. They've questioned the portrayal of events. They've accused India of using cinema to push nationalism. New Delhi, however, made one thing very clear, of course, through sources, that the government has no role to play in films and that creative freedom stands in India. So why is Beijing so rattled 5 years after Galwan? Let's find out in this report.
Bhaijan is back on the big screen, this time with the Battle of Galwan, a film based on the June 2020 clash between Indian and Chinese troops in the Galwan Valley of eastern Ladakh. Directed by Apurva Lakhia, the film stars Salman Khan as Colonel Santosh Babu, the commanding officer of the 16th Bihar Regiment, who laid down his life defending India's territorial integrity. Chitrangda Singh plays the female lead. The trailer has generated massive buzz across India, stirring emotions, pride and remembrance. But across the border, Beijing appears rattled. China's state-run newspaper Global Times has taken a sharp aim at the film, alleging that its portrayal of the June 2020 clash does not align with facts. The article dismisses the film as over the top and even undermines Colonel Babu's sacrifice by calling his role so-called pivotal. The report also accuses India of using cinema to stir nationalistic sentiment, calling it reflective of a deeply rooted cultural and political tradition. But the propaganda doesn't stop there. Global Times has falsely placed responsibility for the June 15, 2020 clash squarely on India, alleging that Indian forces violated the line of actual control and deliberately provoked the situation in the Galwan Valley. But Bharat's story is different and is backed by proof. When China released the footage of the face-off, it showed a young Indian army officer leading from the front, standing firm against aggression. That officer was Captain Soiba from Manipur's Senapati district. On June 15, 2020, he led soldiers of the 16th Bihar Regiment during the confrontation in the Galwan Valley and was later honored by the Manipur Chief Minister for his bravery. Amid the controversy, government sources have clarified that the Indian government has no role in the making of the film and that filmmakers enjoy creative freedom. Bharat knows its truth, Beijing knows it too. So why the outrage? 5 years later, China still avoids transparency. It continues to reshape narratives and relies on propaganda. And this raises some important questions. If China's version of events is so solid, then why fear a film? If history is truly on Beijing's side, why attempt to silence another perspective? In a world where borders are contested not just on the ground but in the minds, is cinema really the threat? Or is it the truth? Bureau Report, India Today.
Why fear a film? Joining me on India First is Ainar Tanjan. He's a senior fellow at the Center for International Governance, Innovation, of course, and chairman of the Asia Narrative. He joins us from Beijing. Lieutenant General S.L. Narasimhan is former member of the National Security Advisory Board, former defense attaché at the Indian mission in China. Gentlemen, welcome. Mr. Tanjan, how do you interpret Global Times' accusation that the film Battle of Galwan distorts historical facts about the 2020 clash? Why do you think, sir, China or the newspaper is so impacted by an Indian film?
Well, I don't think it's so impacted. I mean, what they do is they believe they have their own narrative. India has theirs, and what you see here is a movie. It's not reality. It's in part fiction, of course, but it's just a movie. So I think they're being a little bit sensitive, but at a time when we have so much conflict going on in the world, I think China would like to see less conflict and therefore less appeals to nationalism. So I think they're concerned. Remember, the background of this was that things were de-escalating. And from the Chinese perspective, there was an attempt to kick over a tent that the Chinese said that they were about to take down. This resulted in a melee. Many of the soldiers who died on the Indian side died of hypothermia because they got pushed into a ravine that at the bottom of was water, and they literally died from hypothermia and things like this. So it was a very tragic incident. Been better off if it had not happened. But when you put soldiers in close proximity like this, you're bound to have consequences like similar to this.
True. General Narasimhan, your reading of the unease and the Global Times article on this film Galwan, soldiers being put in close proximity would indicate, had the Chinese not come there, India wouldn't have had to put troops to counter their presence in that area.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav, for getting me on this show. And it's a topic which has just come up after 3 days before this teaser was released, and now reactions have started coming. But it has come from Global Times and probably in Weibo in couple of places. But the government of China has not actually made any kind of remark on this as yet. That is one. The second thing is, it is only a teaser that has been put out. The whole movie has not come out as yet. I don't know why people have to react to a teaser which has just been put out at this point in time. But they need to wait till the entire movie comes out, and thereafter that can be analyzed subsequently. But this can be understood basically because, as Mr. Ainar mentioned, since last year there has been some kind of stability in the relationship between India and China, and this building up of nationalism may create certain issues in that particular aspect is what probably the Chinese side may be feeling. But let me put this in the right perspective. It took 5 years for us to do the disengagement part in full, and still 2 more steps of de-escalation and de-induction are left. That is to be done further. And notwithstanding all that, the political relationship also has stabilized a little bit. So hopefully things will continue in this manner. I think there's a little overreaction from the Chinese side is what I think, because it's just a teaser that has been put out. And I went through the teaser a couple of times to see whether anything very adverse is there. At the moment, I don't see anything adverse happening there. It only says defending of India's territory is what is being said. So we'll have to wait for the entire movie to come out and then see what happens there.
Oh, absolutely. And both of you are absolutely right, because, tensions are coming down on either side, even though that may well just be tactical, Einar Tangent, because disengagement may have taken place, de-induction hasn't taken place, de-escalation of tensions really hasn't taken place, just disengagement as yet. But the Global Times is trying to dismiss Colonel Santosh Babu's role as so-called pivotal to this entire controversy. Why would China be so interested in what an Indian movie depicts about an Indian commanding officer? Is there an apprehension that whatever China may have been trying to build may be called out? Because in India, nationalism is never seen as a bad thing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but the Chinese government and the newspapers, especially now, are extremely sensitive. They're dealing with this situation. Japan, where they've indicated, Japan has indicated first that they think that there's some reason that they can interfere in Taiwan, and second, that they think that nuclear weapons is the next solution. Obviously, this is heightened tensions at this moment in time. China is mounting a live fire exercise that basically rehearses cutting off access to Taiwan. So it's very, very difficult to sort all of this out, except from the emotional point of view. So at this point, I would agree with my colleague. It's time to put this aside. This is a Bollywood movie. This is an actor who had 2 movies that he wasn't satisfied with, and he's hoping this will be a blockbuster. Obviously, picking on a theme that would stir nationalism is very much part of that. But we should not be exchanging fact for fiction or fiction for fact. And as he suggested, we should be waiting to see what is there and not take it with too much seriousness.
True. Because we still to learn of the reality on the Chinese side, while India being a democracy, Mr. Tangent was, put out the fatalities and casualties on the Indian side. The Chinese side, for some reason, didn't do so for quite some time, and only then gave out some details and not all. General Narasimhan, from a military perspective, what is your reading of China being upset about highlighting individual bravery of an Indian official or highlighting the situation on ground? And of course, the Chinese silence on the casualties on the Chinese side.
2 things. One is, let me take the Chinese casualties figures first. I mean, we can't be for sure say how many casualties Chinese suffered. They have, of course, announced that they suffered 4. That is fine. But that is generally the nature of the government in China. Even if you take your mind back, 1962 casualties are also not clear as of now. So it is a long-drawn kind of a thing that the Chinese have, that method. That is their own way of doing things. That is one. Second thing about the individual bravery. I mean, initially they didn't accept the casualties. Thereafter, there is a sense of nationalism that we could see in the Chinese social media. They also actually brought into prominence Senior Colonel Chief Minister, who was given the prime of place in certain events, etc. So I think nations do play up individual bravery that creates a sense of nationalism, sense of belonging, sense of patriotism, that I think all countries do. I'm sure Chinese also did that. That is why I'm surprised as to why they're actually not comfortable with Colonel Santosh's bravery. If Regimental Commander Chief Minister can be brought into prominence, I am sure Colonel Santosh Babu also has his role to play in that event. So I think we need to see it with more sense of balance. I think there's a sense of little imbalance at this moment. I think when the movie comes out and everybody sees it, I think things will settle down. And Government of India has played it very maturely to say that the government hand is not there in making this film. And of course, we in India allow the free movie makers to have more sense of freedom to make their own movies the way they wanted. And I'm sure the movie makers also would have done a lot of research. I mean, there are if you go to the social media, there are reports of how the research has been done, etc. So I think we need to wait and watch. I think this is a little overreaction which has taken place. Let us put it aside and then let us see how the relationship remains stable till the future can be seen.
Oh, absolutely. The relationship should stay stable. Both my respected guests have argued that Einar Tangen in this Global Times article, China actually pins the responsibility for the clash on India. They claim Indian troops crossed the LAC and provoked the confrontation. Your facts, your movie, or the way you may want to put it out, but the facts on ground remain Tibet, occupied by China. Your army came in, your troops came in, your additional forces came in, and India mounted a response, mobilizing forces only in response to Chinese mobilization, sir, the way we look at it.
Yeah, obviously, countries look at it differently. I'm not Chinese. I'm an American. I've lived here about a third of my life. So, I mean, what China sees this as going back to the '62 war. And they have their narrative. Obviously, India has theirs. I don't expect them to adopt each other's. But the point is, you can't change the past. Right now, India has bigger problems. It has a U.S. problem. Tariffs, interference in elections, false claims about making peace, and all this type of thing. China would love to see things remain on track. They don't want to have, a bunch of embarrassments that get in the way of having better relations. India is never going to be like China. China is never going to be like India. But both want security. They want development. They want to be respected for the cultures and countries that they are. And obviously, there has to be a mechanism for them to talk instead of, throwing tanks and big brickbats at each other. So hopefully that is the future. And you can put aside all this kind of stuff as to who is a hero and who was not.
Sure. Jalnar Simon, China, or some analysts believe that India has huge problems. Many would argue China's problems are even bigger given the tensions with Japan, the situation with Taiwan right now. Taiwan, mounting their own exercising and air operations with the violation of their air defense identification zones, China's issues with the United States. In all of this, what I want to understand from you is, why do India's neighbors get rattled by Hindi films? Pakistan got very rattled with Dhurandhar. China's upset with this, or the Chinese state media is upset with this film on Galwan. Is their narrative so carefully constructed collapsing?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, that's taking, again, things a little too far. Don't forget, there was a Wolf Warrior movie in China which talked about US mercenaries acting against China and China reacting to it. There was also another movie on the Chinese Air Force, the way they were looking at the counter-terrorism aspects. So I think every country makes such movies. I'm sure Americans also make it. Every country makes it. That is one issue. Second issue is, I think there is a sense of, I would say, there are too many things happening around China. You talked about Japan, issues with Taiwan. They already started a blockade a couple of days ago, and that is still going on in some form around Taiwan. And not only that, there are other issues with the US, the Russia-Ukraine campaign not showing any kind of let-up. You find the Middle East again up in the arms. So you find that, this entire thing is up in the air and with a lot of flux in the international system. So that is, I'm sure they don't want to add one more to it. And that is one issue that could actually rattle them a little bit to say that, why should we add one more to it? So the issue is that we are now taking and discussing two things. One, what was Global Times mentioned? People Daily has not mentioned anything on this. China Daily has not mentioned anything on this. The other newspapers, which are actually the government's mouthpieces, they are not actually said anything much on this. I think Global Times is known to known to react in this manner in some form or the
Okay.
other. So I think we need to take all this into account when we analyze this. And so I wouldn't attribute any much motives into this. I think it is a reaction by one newspaper, the Global Times, which has been picked up and then played up. I think we'll have to wait for more mature, more balanced kind of reaction from the Chinese government or Chinese mouthpieces. Then you can take it up for discussions. At the moment, I would say that I think we should take it for what it is, that it is a report by Global Times, and that is what is being discussed at this point in time.
Very interesting. And, Mr. Ainar Tanjan and Jan Narasimhan, many thanks for this discussion here on India Today. Let's see how this develops. And more than a reaction to a movie, let's see how the situation on the line of actual control pans out in the coming months. Hopefully, there will be de-escalation and ultimately de-induction for the relationship to return on an even keel. Because for the relationship to grow, there needs to be peace and tranquility at the borders. That is all I have for you on this India First special broadcast. Many thanks for watching.